Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. The book of Ecclesiastes really impresses on our minds how vain life is apart from God. If a person is just living for this world, just living according to this earth, life under the sun, as he calls it, it's really vain and empty, ultimately, because our lives are so short. The things that we acquire, the things that we accomplish, will just dissolve and go away when we die. If we acquire a lot of money and a lot of possessions, all that's just going to get left to someone else who we don't even know is going to take care of it. And really everything that we live for will one day be forgotten. And so the things connected to this earth and connected to this world ultimately are vain when done apart from God. And this is a great reminder for us and a great wake-up call for us as well, even as believers. Even though those of us who know the Lord and walk with the Lord, it's good for us to remember these truths found in the book of Ecclesiastes. And as we read about vanity of vanities, all is vanity, and we read about how empty these pursuits are that we often get ourselves involved in, it can help us to have the proper perspective on these things that the preacher in Ecclesiastes, Solomon, lists out in his book, and to know how to deal with these things. And there's basically two ways that we can respond to these things. One is to try to lessen or decrease the amount of vain pursuits we get involved in. It helps us to know that, we shouldn't be making our lives all about money or all about pleasure or all about just amassing a lot of things. It's a great reminder to tell us that, if that's all we're living for, even as believers, if we aren't really living for God, even though we know about God and we might have been taught about God, but we're really just living for this world, we're really just spinning our wheels, and it's not going to accomplish anything. And so what we ought to do then is to look at those things in our lives that we're engaged in that are just vain and empty and decrease those things. It might be the amount of time we sit in front of the TV, or it might be the amount of time that we spend scrolling on our cell phones. It could be a lot of different things, and each of us have to examine ourselves to find out what those things are. But to acknowledge those things in our lives that really aren't accomplishing anything and really are not bringing any benefit to ourselves or to others or to the kingdom, and to just note those, and to the extent that we can, diminish those things in our lives so that the things that are vain in our lives become less and less, and the things that we do that do have eternal purpose and do have a meaning beyond just this life will increase, and we'll make more space and more time for those things as opposed to the things that are vain and empty. But the second way we can respond to this is to say, even the things that we engage in that are empty and vain can become not empty and vain if we do it before God. If we do it prayerfully under the direction of God, keeping our minds focused on God all the while, suddenly, even the most mundane tasks, the things that seem the most empty and futile, can actually have profound meaning as we bring God into the activity. Things such as washing the dishes or mowing the grass. They might seem like mundane things. They might be things like that might seem vain because you wash the dishes today only to have to do them again tomorrow. You mow the yard this week, knowing that in a week or two you're going to have to do it again. They might seem mundane and vain, but when we engage in these activities with our hearts directed towards God, prayerfully engaged in the activities, thanking God, being full of gratitude and thanksgiving to Him for the things that He has given us and the health and the ability to engage in these activities, as we do it, interceding for others while we're engaged in these things, as we're doing it in a way that honors God, suddenly these activities that on the surface seem mundane and vain can be, once again, they can be profound. It can be very meaningful. It can be activities that really utilize us drawing all the more closer to the Lord. If we go to work, we could go to work just thinking about ourselves, just thinking about acquiring money and just trying to get one up on the Joneses and things like that. We could approach work that way, or we could look at work as a ministry, an opportunity for us to engage in work that will provide for our families, that we can use that money then to help others who are in need. We can go to our jobs thankful and grateful to God that He has given us a means by which we can provide for those we love and provide for ourselves. And suddenly work becomes something that is done prayerfully in a way that honors God, that draws our hearts to God, and all of a sudden then becomes not a vain activity, but a very meaningful activity. And you could go down the list of all the different things. And so as we think about the fact that vanity is a reality in this world, again, we can respond in these two ways. One, try to lessen the things that we get involved with and distracted by that are vain. Try to lessen the quantity of those things and increase the things in our lives that do have eternal meaning and purpose. But then also to be intentional about taking all of our activities in life and do them prayerfully and under the direction of God with a heart of gratitude and thanksgiving and praise to Him, doing it or utilizing these things to serve others and to store up treasures in heaven. If we can respond in these two ways to these vain things, we'll be living a life with more purpose, more meaning, and in a way that will honor God all the more. So these are the things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. And with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.